Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just waiting on Elliotte Friedman. All of our guests today, needless to say, a busy day for Elliotte as NHL teams are declaring their rosters going into their season openers. Passat Motors. Where's my read here? There we go. All of our guests today sponsored by Passat Motors. That includes Elliotte. You're invited to the biggest sale of the year, the Passat Motors Anniversary Sale. Rick, it is back. Check it out at Passat Motors, BASANT Motors.com. Team, we got Elliotte now?
No, but Elliotte just tweeted that Vancouver has reclaimed Jiri Patera.
Okay, there you go.
That's why we're waiting on Elliotte.
And, you know, hats off to you. We joke around a lot and take shots at each other, but you predicted this move last week after he was claimed by the Boston Bruins, who weren't sure what was going to happen with Jeremy Swayman.
Canucks were not happy losing Patera. The only reason they lost him was because the Bruins had not signed Swayman at the time. So the Canucks internally said, we're going to get this guy back. They got him back.
Jiri Patera, once again, a member of the Canucks organization. And do we have anything on the situation? Does Elliotte tweeted anything out? Again, we're waiting on Elliotte, on Thatcher, Demko, or Dakota Joshua and their situation.
No.
Are they going on LTIR, on IR? We don't know at this point. Elliotte will join us in a matter of moments, we hope, and we'll get some more information on that.
And by the way, with Patera, now he can go straight to the AHL.
Right.
Yeah. So the Canucks, this is a big, massive break for the Canucks because down in Abbotsford, their backup was going to be Ty Young, a 20-year-old goaltender out of the Western Hockey League. The jump from the Western League to the American League, Donnie, is too massive. Mm-hmm. So this is good. They get Patera back. They can carry 3 goaltenders up high, and they can have the 2 down in Vancouver or in Abbotsford.
So we'll deal with the Canucks goaltending situation further in our next segment with the Seelovs and Lankin and now Patera's in the fold. So we'll do that. We'll do that later. In the meantime, we're joined now, as promised, from Hockey Night in Canada and 32 Thoughts podcast, Elliotte Friedman. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you? You're busy.
Good guys. I'm sorry. I had to deal with those. I had to deal with that. People were like all over me for words. It's 1 minute after 2 or 11 or 12 or 1. Where are my waivers? So you cannot keep the people from what they want.
Yeah.
Did Brandstrom clear, Elliotte?
Yes, he did. So you guys claimed Patera. We'll find out if – I haven't checked yet to see if anyone else claimed him, but if anyone below you did, then you can't send them down to Abbotsford if someone did. You can take them. Yeah, I mean, you know what you should do? You should get on your horn with the Canucks there, Rick, and ask them if they can send them down because they'll know.
Yeah, absolutely, they'll know.
Do something.
No kidding. Thatcher, Demko, Dakota, Joshua, anything on them as I put you on the spot, Elliotte, regarding going on long-term injury reserve or IR?
I'm under the impression that Vancouver isn't like the whole point they made that deal yesterday was they don't have to go on long-term injured reserve. So I'm not expecting them to do that at all. Dakota Joshua, I believe, is supposed to begin skating again this week if he hasn't already. And, just by the fact, I think everybody was happy to see he did that appearance on the weekend. And just by the fact that he did that, I think it's a positive thing. And he's probably a few weeks away. Now, Demko, I'm being really careful about not putting a timeline on this. But the one thing I'm definitely hearing is that they're going to take their time here. And there's no rush, and they think they're more than capable of handling things at the start of the year with Seelovs and Lankinen, that their team is good enough and those 2 are good enough, and they will take their time. There is no rush here on Demko, and as a result, I'm not really that interested in putting a time frame on it.
Jeremy Swayman, that gets resolved on the weekend. 8 years, $66 million in Boston. Career high games played in a season last year, 44. Do you understand the amount of money and attention and trust being put in him by the Boston Bruins?
I do. I mean, they traded Ullmark, and they knew they were going to have to trade Ullmark because They probably weren't going to be able to keep both of them, and they were going to keep Swayman because he's younger, and they think he's got a higher ceiling. Look, I think that was one of the things that had the Bruins concerned going into it was, I think they all initially Boston offered a 4-year deal. I think that if they had their choice, that would have been the term they would have gone for. But Swayman wasn't interested in that. He wanted term right from the beginning, max term. So Boston got pushed into an area where they didn't quite want to go at the beginning. Swayman came down from where he initially wanted to go. And I think at the end of the day, the Bruins just challenged Swayman in the sense that it's your job now, and do you want to be here? And he said yes, he did. And that's why they got the deal done. It is definitely a big deal for a goaltender who hasn't played as many games as he has, but I've seen nothing that would concern me at all based on what I've seen from him in the playoffs, Donnie, that would make me worry that he couldn't handle it.
Elliotte, this morning on your great podcast, you mentioned that you think the Vancouver Canucks could win the Stanley Cup.
I do.
Yeah, you did say that. And go into some of the reasons why you're so high on the Canucks.
Well, look, I think that every team in the cap world has a fatal flaw, right? Nobody's perfect. You're always going to have things that can undo you. And the Canucks are no different there than anyone else. I think they have top-end talent. I think they're deep. And I think that their front office is such that, and you're already seeing it with the fact that they don't want to go into LTIR, they have basically said that whatever we determine our weakness to be this year, we are going to address it. And so I think I look at that as a team that is prepared to go all out to win the Stanley Cup. And I think they're good enough to do it. I think in my Sportsnet predictions, I predicted Quinn Hughes to win the Hart Trophy this year. I think he's got that in him. I think this is a huge season for Pettersson. I thought that last year, everything that he did was just a crazy year. It was just between the contract and everything else. I don't think it was ever really settled for him. All of that is behind him now, and he can just focus on playing. I mean, obviously the big question is Demko, and that is, as we all know, is a thing, and that's why I believe the Canucks are going to be patient with him. But I look at their talent, I look at their depth, particularly up front. I believe that Jim Rutherford has shown over his career that when he thinks he can win, he will go out and get what's missing. The Demko thing certainly hangs over it, but I believe in pure talent. The Vancouver Canucks are good enough to win. The biggest challenge they have is that the team I think a lot of us are predicting to win is in the same division. And I can't wait to watch them and the Oilers go head-to-head all those times this year.
Elliotte, you have heard Niels Höglander's name pop up in trade rumors the last couple of years. We always hear his name pops up. Well, guess what? Probably not going to hear it for a while because the Canucks signed him to a 3-year, $9 million deal. What did you think of the deal?
I thought it was a good deal. I mean, I will say this. I think it shows that Höglander values some calm. No question about that. Because I like when you look at that, if you're gonna play top 6 minutes or you're going to score 24 goals a year, there is a chance you can make more than that. But I also bet that he knows that he's got a good thing going in Vancouver. They obviously value him and they put him in situations to be successful. I think he knows he's not one of the best players, but he's not a very complimentary player. And he probably also knows that if Vancouver can't handle him at that number, then maybe he might have to go somewhere else. So to me, it looked as a player recognizing that I have a good situation here and I'm going to stay with it. And I'm going to give the Canucks some cost certainty for years to come. So now he's just got to do it again.
And before I let you go, Elliotte, I know a couple of games have been played over in Prague, but NHL season 108 is about to get in full gear. What would you say? What's your opinion of the state the league is in right now?
I think it's pretty good, Don. I do. I think the state of the league is. I mean, it can always be better. Nothing is ever perfect. I don't ever think that. But I'm really excited for the season. I thought last season was a really entertaining year. I expect this year to be a really entertaining year. For those of us who work in Canada, It's always better when you have Canadian teams that are close. I mean, Edmonton is as close as you can get without winning it. As you know, I think the Canucks are a good team. I think Toronto is going to be better this year than they were last year, although same thing in goal. I'm a little bit, Wool is a guy who's been hurt before, and if he gets hurt, that's a big issue for them. I expect Ottawa to be better and make the playoffs. I like the better the Canadian teams are, the more fun it is for, I think, those of us who work in Canada, especially when all the Canadian fans hate each other like Ottawa and Montreal do right now. So
Yeah, right.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this season. I just, like I said, I think when the Canadian teams have a chance to win, a couple of them, I think it just makes it so much more fun up here, and I think a couple do.
Elliotte, we look forward to having you. Wish we could have you on every week. Every day,
every day, Elliotte. Make it happen.
Every second Monday is just fine, my friend.
Rick, get to work. Find out if Thatcher can go to the minors. Let's go.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He needs to do that and focus on the next hour being on the air.
Yes.
But
yes.
We'll get through it. Elliotte, thank you, sir.
Take care, guys. See you later.